Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. Today, we're going to be talking about how to form an anonymous LLC. I've been getting tons of questions about this. Brian, I want to invest in real estate. I don't know how to open up my LLCs. I've never done it before, but how can I do this in the best way where I'm anonymous, where my name's not all out in the public records, people trying to sue me, get to my assets. So I'm going to break down that top secret information for you today. Make sure you stick around to the end, because if you miss out on this information, you may leave your assets exposed. One of the worst things that can happen in this game is that you spend 5-10 years building a portfolio and then you lose it all because you made a small mistake. You didn't watch this session. You didn't get all the information. You made a mistake. Now creditors coming after you and they're taking all of your hard-earned work. We don't get our time back. We can make more money in life. A lot of us are at a place where we're like, man, I wish I had more money. You really wish you had more time. You only want the money so that you can break free from the 9-to-5, get your time back. So knowing this stuff and putting your time and your energy into it, you have to learn how to protect it. You almost want to work backwards in that sense. And once you know how to protect your assets, you can kind of go to the next level. Guys, if you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe. If you leave that comment, I'll send you instant access to my free real estate trainings. If you're on IG, just DM me cash flow. Let's get into the mindset. If you guys have questions, drop in the chat, drop in the comment section. I'll answer them as we go. All questions there. Somebody said audio is good on my end. Yeah, the audio is good. If you're interested in our programs, the one thing I'll say, we have our real estate ride along tour, Philly. You spend a day with me. Saturday, November 16th is the next tour, last tour of the year. Definitely tap into that. We only have like 3 seats available, 4 seats available. Reach out to that. I think if you're like a What's a Mortgage person, I'm pretty sure Min is tapping in from What's a Mortgage. So he's going to be coming in too. So I know there's a lot of people in the What's a Mortgage family and they're like, oh, Min's going to be there. Let me tap in. Reach out, tap in. We have our Inner Circle program if you want to tap into our team and get one-on-one mentorship. So we've added some one-on-one mentorship aspects back into what we do because I want to help you guys. And I've seen people struggle without the one-on-one aspect. So we've added that back into our mentorship program. So make sure you reach out about that. Let's get in a mindset, and then I want to answer your questions. I don't want to keep us all night. The mindset for the day is the way out is further in. The way out of a real estate deal, at times, when you get jammed up. Jammed up means you're doing a deal and you didn't pull permits, inspector runs in, boom, red tags the door. You got to get permits. The job's going a little bit longer than anticipated. You're getting stressed out. One of the contractors ran off the job. They ran away with the money. The electrician's a bum. You got to get rid of them, get the new electrician. Like there's all this stuff that's happening. The way out is further in. It's like going through a cave. If you're like a cave diver, now you're going into this cave. You're going to get so deep into the cave, so deep into the deal, that you're at a point of no return. You can't turn around and go back. You have to navigate this deal now. You have to get to the light at the other end of the tunnel. The way out of that deal into cash flow and success is further into the deal. Not being afraid of it, not being intimidated by it, but diving into the issues, conquering the issues, because these are issues often that you will face again and again and again. That's the benefit that I have, having done over 300 rehabs, almost 400 rehabs now. So we're definitely over like 375. We'll probably be at 400 in another 3 months or so, believe it or not, because we're building that many properties. But having all of these deals under my belt, I can now navigate. I can get further into these deals, and I don't even think about turning around. It's just like, oh, what's the issue? Been there, done that, crank through it. So keep that mindset when you're in tough real estate deals, when you're grinding through them, when things are getting tough. One, reach out for help. Always reach out. DM me, text me, email me, however you got here. You can figure out how to reach out. You can drop a comment and reach out. But understand the way to profitability, not only on this deal, but long-term on your future deals, is actually further into it, diving deep into the deal and getting to the other side. So just stay locked in on that mindset. It'll keep you tapped in and you'll accelerate faster. You'll be less intimidated by nature, and you will get better results. How we doing, Mark? I see you tapped in. So let's get into this, how to form an anonymous LLC. Once again, guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe. share the content with someone else who you want to get this value, and just stay tapped in, ask lots of questions as you have them. We're not going to talk a ton about forming the LLC, although I will answer those questions if somebody asks it. We're just going to talk about what's the anonymous LLC? How do we form that? Not just any old LLC. So how to form an anonymous LLC? Well, why are we doing this? First, you got to focus on protecting your assets. You got to protect your assets. This is a heavyweight bout. Everybody's not your friend. Every lender is not your friend. Everybody's not trying to help you. Some people are out there truly to do harm. Some people, they call it like they don't want you to have hair. They don't want you to win. They just don't want you to win because they're jealous, because of whatever. So you have to be in a position to protect your assets at all times. Protecting your assets is keeping your name out of public records. Keeping your name completely out of the public records, because this is the first thing that an attorney does. Somebody hires an attorney to sue you, they're going to start doing an asset search. It's called a global asset search. They're going to start looking for everything you own. What LLCs does this person operate? What do they own? They're going to see that information in the public records. This is why I don't want you guys buying properties in your personal name. I do understand if you need to buy property to own or occupy, and the best way to get financing is through your personal name, but then you still want to take that asset and transfer it into a trust. We'll talk about that. And people, you can ask questions about that. 2, enhance your creditor protection. You want to be protected from creditors. So there's 2-way protection to an LLC. Most people just focus on the 1-way protection. I focus on the 2-way. How many properties per LLC? That's a part of protecting your assets. I typically will say no more than 5 properties per LLC. Best states to open LLCs in. This is really important. A lot of people don't understand this. They just think, I'm in California, I'm going to open an LLC in California. Or I live in North Carolina, I'm going to do the North Carolina LLC. Which state you open an LLC in is extremely important. It's almost the most important thing, because different states come with different levels of creditor protection. And there are like 4 states with the highest level of creditor protection. And some of them are cheaper than the states that you're opening LLCs in right now, or maybe thinking about opening an LLC in. Do you even know what the creditor protections are in your state? Do you know what the worst case scenario is in your state? When I was playing basketball at Columbia, one of the seniors came up to me, and this was like my freshman year, and he said, listen, and this coach used to just run everybody like dogs. He said, listen, if you come into practice and you anticipate that you're going to run until you just pass out. And some days were like this, by the way. We're running 2017s because so-and-so missed the rebound yesterday. Like some practices were like that. But if you come in with that mindset of this is going to be the worst practice ever, then you'll never have a bad practice. You'll either be met at your expectation, or you'll be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. I was expecting worse. You have to look at your LLC structuring and present yourself with the worst case scenario. So if I get sued in this way, if this happens, what's that worst case? What can they do? What can they do to my assets, to my LLCs? You need to open in the states that offer you the best protection. If not, you're going to go for a ride. And don't say I didn't tell you. And if you have questions about it, ask them. Advanced LLC structure. We're going to get into that. Of course, guys, there's a lot that we talk about on these. So if you ever want to hit the easy button and you're like, Brian, this looks good, but I'm busy. I just want you to finance, rehab, tenant, and then manage the property for me long-term. I just want you to handle it all for me. Then that's our Boots on the Ground program. Just reach out and DM me Boots on the Ground, DM me cash flow, and we'll get you tapped into more information on that and how you can accelerate and get you some free trainings. Form it in an anonymous LLC state. So certain states, and I'm giving you guys the game, such as Delaware, Nevada, New Mexico, and Wyoming, allow anonymous LLCs. These are the states that I want you guys focusing on. I'll repeat them. Delaware. Let me blow this up for my IG people so you can screenshot. Delaware, Nevada, New Mexico, and Wyoming. These are the LLCs I want you focused on predominantly. They allow anonymous LLCs, meaning they do not require the names of LLC owners, members, or managers to be disclosed in public records. This is how you stay out. This is how you avoid just being too public with it. Just being a little too out there with it. This is not the game to be out there. This is, somebody asked me the other day to like, show me every property you own. And I was like, bro, calm down. Like, you need to relax. Like, oh, send me a list of your LLCs. No. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Do you understand how hard people work to not do that? No. In this game, if you do this at a high level, you may not technically own anything. You may still have control over your assets. And this is a real thing, control without ownership. A trust could own everything and you could control all of it and be a beneficiary of it. There are multiple ways to set up control without ownership. So the best guys, the top guys in the country, for those of you who think like that, I want to be the best. They're set up, it looks like they own nothing. They might get a stimulus check. It looks like they own nothing. So that is the highest level. You don't want to be walking around telling people what you own on a specific level or looking like you own all the stuff. In these states, only the name of the registered agent is public, keeping ownership details private. That's crucial for your success. Next, we want to use a registered agent service. This will happen if you use websites that create your LLCs, like InkFile. I think they changed their name to Busy or something like that. Use a registered agent service. So registered agent services can receive official documents on your behalf, on behalf of the LLC, which can help keep your address and contact information private. It's another mistake I've seen. They said, yeah, Mark said, this is a masterclass in business structuring. Absolutely. This is a masterclass. Somebody will charge you $5,000 for this session. It's great. Like, I'm just keeping it real with you guys. They'll charge you $5,000 for this without the Q&A. Some registered agents allow you to use their address on public filings, so your own address is not disclosed. A lot of people make this mistake. They create their LLC. They start putting their address on there. They're just trying to get through it fast. They haven't done it before. And now your address is out there. You think it's that difficult for a creditor to see your address, tell their attorney, tell their private investigator, yo, do a search, a global search on this address. Any accounts, bank accounts open with this address, anything that has anything to do with this address. I want to see it for the last 20 years. It's easy to pull. So even the address, even if you're not putting your name, some people are like, well, my name's not on it. Your address is on it, bro. They saw 123 Green Street 30 times. They can pull up the last 10 mortgages, how many properties you own, when you refinanced. I mean, they can get in the weeds on you. They can really find you and they can find your assets. So you have to have that separation. These services are, $100, $200 a year. Don't look at it as an expense. Look at it as a write-off, because the expense is the worst case scenario, not the $200. It's the $250,000 lawsuit. So you have to keep it all in perspective. Let's go to the next one. Use a nominee. This is a good one. A lot of people never heard of this, and I'm one of those people. This is how I know it's good information. Not that I haven't heard of it like until seconds ago or hours ago, but this was something that I discovered along the journey. Use a nominee, manager, or officer. A nominee or third-party representative, and you can use people like this in Wyoming and in these states, these privacy-friendly states, can be listed as the manager or officer of the LLC on the LLC formation documents, maintaining your anonymous status. This person is essentially a representative on paper while you retain control and practice. So this is somebody that you can list, and they're the nominee. They're essentially the company rep. Send all the information to them. They're taking care of it. You can hire a third-party company. You'll probably have a couple of attorneys on staff, and they'll just receive documents. They'll handle things, but they'll sit on those documents so that you don't have to. So this is how you can completely distance yourself, even beyond putting it in a trust or doing some of these things, you could just get a nominee, pay them $500 a year, and they'll sit on all the public documents. Now you're not even on the paperwork at all. There's no way for anybody to know. Guys, if you have any questions, drop in the chat, drop in the comment section. We're going to keep flowing through this thing. Let me get us to the next one. Next level of this protection is create a layered entity structure. You have to layer your entities. A lot of people don't know this. They think, oh, I just created that LLC. I'm good. Or you might just go out and create this LLC, put 5 properties in it, then create this one, put 5 properties and create this one. But now you don't have a layered structure. You can create an additional layer of anonymity by setting up a second LLC in a privacy-friendly state like Delaware or Wyoming. These are the two that, for my boots on the ground people, you know I'm always talking about Delaware and Wyoming and why. And making it the member owner of your main LLC. This structure can make it even harder to trace the LLC back to you personally. So I may own this LLC through a trust. So there's a third layer, but I have a trust that owns this LLC. Then this LLC owns these 3 sub LLCs. All of the profits just flow straight up. It's a pyramid structure. Profits from these 3 companies or losses. And we talked about losses last week. So you understand why I want losses to pass through. They all pass through and can pass through you personally if you're sitting behind the structure. So let's say I open in Wyoming, I name a nominee so they can't see me. Then that Wyoming LLC owns these other 3 Delaware LLCs. So they can't even barely figure out who owns the Delaware LLC, but then they figure out who owns it. It's this LLC. So they're like, all right, we're not dealing with a rookie here. Now we're dealing with a grown ass man. Like this guy took the time to really layer. So they understand that. Then they try to see who owns this LLC. And now we're at another level. There's a nominee and some address they never heard of. And they're like, I guess that's not him. I don't know. And then it might still be in a trust. Or it's in another LLC that's multi-member, giving me another layer of protection. Because there's layers between being a single member, a single owner, or a multi-member. There's different levels of protection there. So your structuring is so crucial. But you have to have some type of setup, especially for those of you who want to scale. A lot of people say, Brian, I want to do 20 deals a year. I want to do 30 deals a year. I want to do 100 deals a year. You got to learn the structuring first. Because if you run and do 100 deals or 30 deals with bad structuring, at some point you have to take time to restructure. And that could cost you. It's going to cost you time, attention, energy that really could have been solved out by just scaling the correct way the first time. So it's a measure twice, cut once principle. This is a good one. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat section. If you want to learn more about any of our programs, DM me Cashflow, DM me Boots on the Ground. Ride along Saturday, November 16th. We do not have much space. We'll see about 15 to 20 properties in that day. And a bunch of flip deals all over the city. It's crazy. Use privacy-friendly bank accounts. Some banks allow LLCs to open accounts without requiring owner details to be publicly available. Interesting. It's best to check with individual banks as requirements can vary. I personally know there are online websites where you could open a business bank account with all the business information and a nominee. And you could open 5 bank accounts in a day. All through nominee, not having your name out there. So there are definitely banks like this. If anybody needs a bank, just reach out. I'll send you one. But you can definitely get this done. This is another mistake people make. They want to go to like Bank of America. You might go to Bank of America, but do your research. If you want full anonymous status, if you want to be off grid, get off grid. The problem is this: when they come after you, what do you think one of their remedies are? So if a creditor comes after you, one of their remedies is to try to freeze bank accounts. There's going to be wage garnishment, bank account freezing. There might be other attempts at things. Who knows? But you don't want to be all in the bank account either, right? Because you just don't want to raise an alarm. You don't want to raise an alarm. Creditors have a lot of different remedies and ways that they can get to you. You don't need to give them any more than they're already entitled to. So this is where you're giving away the house versus protecting your assets. So this may, believe it or not, may be one of the most important sessions that anyone ever interested in real estate investing watches. Most people don't know how to protect their assets ever. They've got 20 houses and they have no idea. I think it's extremely dangerous to not be properly structured. Extremely dangerous. And there are always ways to structure better. So you just want to be reasonable with your structuring. You don't want to get too crazy unless you have 100 houses, 150 houses, and you're like, well, this is game-changing wealth. Limit the use of personal information in LLC documents. Avoid using your personal address. Final warning. And information in any public records associated with the LLC, such as on business licenses, government contracts. Use a business address or a virtual office instead. The virtual office, you guys know we have ipostal.com, ipostal1.com. No. It might be a .io. I'll have to check. I think it's .com. But check out ipostal. You can get a virtual address, a virtual office. So these are physical buildings that are located all across the country. They have a physical site, and there's somebody who sits at the front desk, and they receive mail all day, just bins and bins of mail. And then it goes back to a sorting team, and they sort the mail, scan it, upload it. Sort the mail, scan it, upload it. And then you get online access to your mail. But that can give you a physical address in Wyoming, in Arizona, in Pennsylvania, wherever you want to invest. Because where you invest, you want to foreign register your LLCs, domesticate them. So there's a process there. There's a clear process there. But you don't want to be putting your name on, like, oh, you open a water bill in the LLC's name, and you're like, you know what? I really would just rather the water bill to come to my name, come to my address. It's easier than checking the scan. So then you get all dialed in. Now, that's fine to get all dialed in on your personal home if you don't own it. Well, most people at a personal home, they own. Now, if something else owns it, if a trust owns it or something else owns the house, then there's not really a concern there. But you don't want to put your house address all in these public databases that attorneys are going to search. People are, debt collection agencies and different people, they're going to search, and they're going to find this address, and then they're going to do more digging and say, oh, well, they own this house. So that you're hustling backwards at that point. You want to just do a better job. But this is how you do that better job. Hope that helped in terms of X's and O's. If anybody has questions, now's the time to drop them in the chat, drop them in the comment section. We'll go through those. We've been running for almost 25 minutes. But if you're interested in hitting that easy button, and you're like, Brian, this all sounds good, but I need somebody to just help me to find, finance, rehab, tenant, and manage it. I'm busy, got the kids, I'm working, I'm getting my stuff together, but I want somebody to handle the first deal. Then you just want to reach out, DM us, boots on the ground, cash flow, learn about these different programs we have. I think we're like one of the only people, from what I hear, and I have inside sources, we're like the only group that really offers any type of one-on-one aspect. Seriously, guys. So that means people are out there jumping into stuff, trying to learn the game, but they have no support system. And it's difficult to learn like that. My youngest mentee texts me today. He's 21, I want to say. He joined when he was 19. He got his first duplex. He just got his first rent check. First, last, and security, cash smacked in his hand. And he's in the process of renting out another unit. And he's just like, damn, this is crazy. So he's living it. He's cash flowing, $1,000 a month at 21. It took me, I don't think I hit that level until 27, 28. So he's out here doing it. Anybody can be out here doing it. And there are lots of you out here getting it done. So it's amazing to see. But you need that support system. Having that support system, I'm sure, he's references helps him tremendously. He still reaches out many years later. But yeah, you need that support system if you want to accelerate. If you don't have support, it's not that you can't do it, but it's difficult. It's difficult. There are lots of little questions. It said, is there a service that does all this for clients? There are. Yes, there are. There are companies that are called asset protection. They would consider themselves like agencies, but they kind of specialize in asset protection strategies. There's also one kind of social media influencer attorney that appears to be reasonable. I've done as much research on him as possible. But he puts out a lot of content about asset protection. Like he basically started specializing in that. So as I was going down like different rabbit holes and researching different things, I found him. And it's like he puts out really good information, but it's still kind of like taboo information, but it shouldn't be. It's just like the industry has buried this information. Like they don't want you to have it. It's great. Like they don't want you to have it. So there's very few specialists. You don't hear a lot about it. Some of the big websites don't advertise it, but it does exist. It is within your right to structure yourself in a way that is for the benefit of your family and long-term wealth building. You just want to be smart enough, wise enough, and realistically, you don't have to be that smart or wise. You just have to be here. I'm giving you the information. So you have it, which makes you kind of lucky, because most people don't usually just get beat over the head with this information. They figure it out after the fact. Being able to have it in advance puts you in the position to properly use this stuff. You can also go completely offshore. Set up an offshore trust, offshore LLC that is owned by the offshore trust. You're a manager, offshore bank account. Like you can get pretty high level, and people are doing this. Not just real estate professionals, but actually like the multimillionaires, and this is how they're structuring. They're structuring at this level. Offshore trust in some island. I know many of these islands. Offshore LLC. They know all the laws there and how much it costs to bring lawsuits. They know, jurisdiction issues. Like there's a lot, but the way to kind of structure is to be proactive. Get it set up, let it get seasoned for like 3 years, and then it becomes more bulletproof. So very interesting. What about series LLCs? Do they provide additional protection since each baby LLC? Yes, an attorney. Somebody said an attorney can do this. Yes, an attorney can do this, but not every attorney. Sometimes you think about attorneys like, I'll come back to the question, Jay. Sometimes you think about attorneys like, oh, they're an attorney. They know how to do like legal stuff, right? Like, no. There's specific types of attorneys, and there are only a few that I found that are deep into this field that can do all of it. But yes, they're legal groups. They will have somebody there. I don't know if you have to be licensed to help somebody to establish an offshore trust. You kind of just need the expertise. But most of these guys are licensed or have been licensed in the past, or have somebody who's actively licensed on staff. So yeah, they will be like licensed attorneys. Yeah. But not every attorney can help you. You really have to dig through. Series LLCs, do they provide additional protection since each baby LLC is considered to be confirmed or confined to itself and won't bleed into its parent LLC? No, they can. Series LLCs can provide a level of protection. It's just you can, I don't think there's anything wrong with that strategy, right? But there are other strategies out there as well. So it's still just a form of layering. I think the problem, I wonder what happened. I'd have to research what could happen without proper management with the top LLC. I want to do more kind of like risk factors based research on series LLCs to see where the gaps are. But they're okay. Land trusts are okay. But being anonymous is just what you want to do. So even if you had a series LLC, that's good. But if you're not anonymous, that's bad. That's bad. Because a series LLC protects you this way. This is, I slipped and fell on your front steps. I'm suing you. Who owns this property? The LLC sue the LLC. That's this level of protection. But what if you're driving down the street and you get in an accident and it exceeds your personal liability insurance, and now somebody is coming after everything you own? They're trying to attack you this way. So your series LLCs are facing this way. They're giving you liability protection at the property level, so nobody can sue you personally through the LLC or sue the top LLC through the sub LLC. But they're not giving you protection from being sued personally and somebody taking over all of your LLCs and all of your main and all your sub LLCs. This is where protecting your assets comes into play. Because let's say you open your series LLC in the wrong state, you still screwed up. Let's say if you start putting your personal address and doing some of these things, or you don't have a nominee, they're still going to find it and come after it. So you didn't solve the full problem. You have to protect yourself both ways. This is where it becomes chess, not checkers. It's chess, not checkers. Protected both ways. Because creditors are, people come after you, man. Things get ugly. America is a litigious country. People like threatening lawsuits. People usually don't understand what a lawsuit really is and what it costs to conduct. They wouldn't threaten it as much. But people threaten lawsuits all the time. They threaten lawsuits all the time. So there's always a good bit of that. Guys, if you got value, like, comment, subscribe, share the content with someone who you want to get value. And DM me if you have any questions about any of our programs. Sean says, Steve says, how can I switch my properties from a bad state to the good states that we listed? There's a process called domestication of the LLC. Can I re-domesticate the LLC? So can I take it from one state and domesticate it, establish it in the other state? There's a process for that in Wyoming. I believe it only costs $450 to have a service handle domesticating an existing LLC into the state of Wyoming. So then you would be a Wyoming state LLC. You will have all the protections. So I would recommend that approach, and that will potentially save you. That will potentially save you. Mr. Mature said only with a question mark. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But yeah, that will protect you. So I would recommend, if you're in a bad state, get into a better state. Or at least make that one LLC be owned by an LLC that's in a better state. Just keep layering this thing. This is what the top companies do anyway. They just layer. Ultimate layering is probably ultimate structure. This is like superstructure, is offshore trust, offshore LLC that maybe owns domestic LLC or is somehow domesticated to do business in a state. And then kind of running that type of play. That's like an ultimate layer, because then you don't have to own anything. You can just sit at the trust level, offshore bank account as well. And there's different states. Some well, some offshore, I don't even know what you would call them, countries, but there's a different word for them. But some of these places, it's like you could open a bank account with 100K or less. Some they're like, yo, I want $500,000 cash. It's crazy, but it's like if you want to open a Swiss account, like you need $500,000 cash. They don't want to talk. Some of these places, it's if anybody saw, I forget what that sitcom is, Axe Capital, but it's like there's some places if you drop enough money in, you drop $1 million in, they'll give you a passport. And now it's like you can operate, but not that you want to use any of the stuff maliciously. Like, you don't need to. You can make great money in real estate, and then you just open up your options. When you have offshore accounts, like an offshore bank account, you might through that get options to different offshore investments that you don't have access to stateside. So you also open up yourself to different types of lenders, different investment opportunities. There's a variety of reasons, holistic reasons why people, yeah, it's billions. That's right, Mark. It's billions. When Axe had to flee a country, he went to a country where he had capital in a bank, and they had a passport for him. But definitely a great show. Recommend that show. But yeah, this is how people are playing, and there are holistic and beneficial ways and reasons why people are playing at this level. It's not just like avoidance of things. But understand that people are playing at this level. People not playing around out here. People are playing for keeps. So, and you're entitled to play at this level. You just need access to the information. This will at least point you in the right direction to do more research and know where to go. That's what my main focus is with all of you guys, is teaching you where to go to get answers and how to accelerate. Because the more you learn about where to go, the less reliant you become. You become more strategic, like we talked about. When you get to the highest level of real estate investing, you'll wake up, you'll always be in the middle of the cave and kind of working your way through it, navigating the process, finding different tunnels, multiple exits. You'll be just kind of swimming through the game and navigating the issues that the game presents. So it's kind of like that as a real estate investor. You just have to stay locked in. So hopefully this helped you guys. If anybody else has any questions, DM me, text me, email me. We are doing another session on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, with the What's a Mortgage family. That'll be on IG only. So if you're a YouTuber, come over to the IG, Brian Grimes _ 247 CFU for the 24/7 Cash Flow University. Make sure you tap into that. That one's going to be action-packed. We're always just dropping bombs on those sessions. And if you're interested, boots on the ground, reach out. If you're interested in the ride-along, Saturday, November 16th, spend a day with me in Philly. Watch us build houses for a living. I mean, what better thing is there to do on a Saturday than go out and learn, put your hands on deals that are actively happening in today's market, and look at the rehab budgets, look at the numbers, start to understand different timelines, things that can go wrong, things to look out for. There's really no better way to spend your time if you're serious about real estate investing. If you're serious, if you're dipping your toe in, you probably should still come out because it'll teach you a lot. But if you're serious, you need to come out. Or go out somewhere where you can get that comparable level of experience with somebody who's built hundreds of houses. Go do that. That's a good experience to have on your belt. That's something I wish I had the opportunity to do. I mean, the way that I do it, I know it saves you money. The way that I do it, I know it saves you money, or I wouldn't do it. And that's the goal. It's not to have you be reliant, but for you to have knowledge of how much this game costs. In-person event is Saturday, November 16th in Philadelphia. We got the tour bus reserved. I got the hoodies boxed up. We're locked and loaded. You just got to get to Philly on Saturday, the 16th. You just got to get there. But reach out. And then, like I said, we've added a new one-on-one component to the mentorship that I know nobody offers. And it is designed to help you accelerate. I'm constantly, like, as you guys send questions, which I love, send the questions, DM me the questions, text me the questions, because as many of you are seeing, the questions can turn into a session. Let me know what's fresh. Let me know what's holding you up, and we'll accelerate you. We'll accelerate everybody as a group. So I hope that helps, guys. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor. I'll see you guys on the next one. Reach out and stay tapped in, stay locked in, and get out and vote.